welcome people to the All Gunners podcast, episode 10. And I have with me, as always, my co-host, Zed the man. How are we, Zed?
Hey, Harry. Hey, everyone. I'm all right. Monday blues and all that. We've kind of shifted to, recording this on a Monday for some reason. But yeah, here we are. I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm good. I just want to share with our viewers, our listeners, rather, the joke that we were just having a few seconds ago, just before we went on recording. Zed was telling me that he's not been sleeping very well last few nights, and he's really tired this evening. So I said to him, "Well, do you want to scrap the Gunners talk because it's international break and there's no games to talk about, and let's just go for a therapeutic Hazard Khan versus." Z therapy session, and that's we'll probably end up getting more views and listeners than the usual drivel we come out with.
You know what? I think that's our next big idea, mate. We should start a new channel, the Gunners
Let's do
Therapy
it.
channel.
Let's
All
do
the
it, guys.
heartbroken Gunners can come up.
All the heartbreak. Listen, when we don't get top four this season, you can come here and we will therapize you. Don't worry about it. No,
That's
let's not say that.
we'll listen to your woes, your
Yeah,
worries
yeah.
about Arsenal's glory days. We'll let you,
We'll
fantasize about
smash.
those.
We'll smash the views. We'll smash the views. Anyway, let's move forward, guys. We still have for you lots to discuss, even though there's no games to discuss. We'll also be going into talking about previewing Palace away, our next game, and we'll also be talking about how potentially some of our injuries might be a blessing in disguise for that game.
Mm.
We'll move into then after that, Zed. I'm sure you're going to give us a little bit of a loan update. Some of the, let's say the lost profits, the people, the ones that got away. Let's talk about your Guendouzis and your Salibas and your Pepes, and let's see how they're doing at the moment in the international break that's just happened, or happening rather. And then we're going to move on to guys a little bit, a couple of striker links that is fresh off the press before ending today's pod. Let's start then, Zed. Let's go into it.
Hmm. Go on.
International break, always the time where it's not the best because we've been enthralled with some really good football of late and really good results. It's
Yes,
fair
we
to
have. Yeah.
say. And then
Yep.
the international break, and I'll tell you where I'm at when the international break comes. I get a little bit worried because I'm thinking we've just started some momentum, we've just turning the
Mm.
screw a bit, and some may argue, you may argue this, said I don't know, but some may say, well, actually, no, it's a good rest for the players, but well, actually, is it so much a rest because most of our players are international on they go away for international duty,
Yeah.
but will we come back and hit the ground running is always my worry.
Yeah. No, I understand where you're coming from. I think it's the momentum thing, isn't it? That you've got momentum under your belt. You're winning games. Other than the Liverpool loss, I think Arsenal have won, let's say, 4 out of the last 5 games. Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's momentum. The team is together. They're playing, and suddenly here we go. There's an international break, and all the players are called up. They're training with different people. They're training with different coaches, different tactics, and it resets your brain a bit. So I do get the worry. I think sometimes when, as an Arsenal fan, I've had a bit of the thing that can the international break please come so these players can get the hell out and come
yeah,
back refocused. But this time is the opposite, which is bloody hell. I hope no one picks up a serious injury and
yeah.
they come back in good form and they don't lose a lot of confidence by getting benched or not playing well at the international level, and then we can lose that bit of momentum. So
Absolutely.
I completely get you. But yeah, we've had a lot of players out on international break. I think just for England, we've had Ramsdale, but he's pulled out. Saka, he's pulled out as well because of injury. And Ramsdale,
It was
Saka's
COVID. It's COVID.
COVID, yeah, and Ramsdale with the injury, the hip injury that kept him out of the last game. And then you've got Ben White still playing and Emil Smith Rowe still training. I don't think he played in the last game. So yeah, I think we've got four of our starters, and then you've got likes of Kieran Tierney, Nicola Pepe also playing for the international teams
Yeah,
and doing
Tierney
well.
scored. Tierney scored
Tierney
a good
scored,
header.
Pepe
Yeah,
scored as well. So yeah,
yeah.
so I think they're doing well, but the injury is again the worry is rather again that we don't want them to be picking up any injuries. But
No, no.
that's the selfish Arsenal fan point of view. From an England fan point of view, yes,
Yeah. I mean, I must admit.
absolutely,
I mean, we differ on this because I'm not really bothered about what England do unless there's any Gunners in there. And I must
yeah,
admit, I was actually Yeah, do you know what? I'll watch the England game, still game, whatever. I think it's two games, isn't it, that will
Yeah,
take
two
place.
games. Yeah,
I must admit, I totally missed the Switzerland game because remember Chaka's supposed to play in that one as well,
he
wasn't he?
did.
So
Yeah, yeah, he's the
uh,
Swiss captain.
I ended up missing it, but then to be fair, main guys weren't there because I would have really liked to see Ramsdale,
Hmm.
and I would have really liked to see obviously Saka. Those are the two, and Ben White was in there as well. A little bit
Yep.
uneasy when Harry Kane scored that penalty, and I saw Ben White go over and congratulate him. That just doesn't work for me, I'm afraid.
What the Tottenham Arsenal thing? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I just can't get over that. It was a bit of a half-hearted celebration with him, but nah, that's not me. Not in the middle of a. I can probably live with that in a World Cup or a European Cup, but not in the middle of a season. I'm afraid. No, not for me. You're the
Uh,
enemy.
fair enough, fair enough. But I think just to break it down, just in the news that I've been seeing, and obviously I saw can't caught the highlights of the game, never watched the full game anyway. But Ben White's been getting a bit of stick for the goal. That's what the Switzerland scored. I
Yeah,
think it's Embolo who gets it, and everyone's like, "Oh, he misjudges it." It doesn't. And I think we saw that happen. Ben White isn't the strongest in the air. His qualities isn't that. That's not what his job is. His job is to be the person who brings the ball out from the back to pick
and he
those
did that
passes.
very well. I
He
must
did
add
that
from the
very well.
highlights that I saw. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that's why it works with Arsenal as well because Gabriel is that bully. He's the big person who's going to get his head to everything
that's it.
first.
He'll win the stuff in the air.
He'll win
Yeah.
the headers, right? So it's not Ben White's job. But yeah, there is a weakness in his game there. But I think what people need to realize is that's a very very good cross. It just shaves his head, and it's
Mm.
perfect for Mbolo to just head it in. So
I think the other
I
thing
wouldn't
as well
criticize
is
him too much though.
no, I was going to say with the criticism on Ben White is that you've got to remember this he's a very young lad. What is he, 23, 24?
23, yeah,
I mean, to be playing at a top club like Arsenal, a top four club, challenging for honours, i.e., going for Champions League and playing consistently well for Arsenal. You've got to remember 2 or 3 seasons ago, this boy was playing in the Championship, and
yeah, exactly.
is going on loan as a young player. He's actually, to even get in the England team at such a young age. I mean, look, I'll tell you this now, Zed. He's better than Harry Maguire all day long.
Well, yeah, on current form, easily, I think is
Mm,
miles ahead. It's the only thing Harry Maguire has for himself right now is his credit in the bank with Southgate and the fact that he's physically bigger
yeah.
than Ben White right now. But on the ball, overall in confidence, on form, it's miles apart. I think Ben White's got him on toast essentially. It's too easy. But again, I know, but Gareth Southgate prefers his team. He has a bit of bias. He has credit in the bank with certain players, so
Mm,
we know Maguire will start alongside John Stones, right? John Stones though deserves a spot
yeah.
fairly, right?
Mm,
He's done good. Again, it's the same thing with Southgate preferring Pickford, who, to be fair, has never done let England down ever, but he's had a torrid time at Everton. Just he conceded 4 goals just before the international break
yeah.
in the FA Cup, and so
I
I
mean,
think
that's the biggest. I've talked about this on previous pods. Yeah, that's the biggest fraudulence you could ever imagine. To be honest with you, that if he makes that England team come the World Cup,
he will, and I think he'll start. I think it's
that's
there is
fraudulence. I'm afraid.
yeah, there's nothing. He's never put a foot wrong for Gareth Southgate. And to be fair, he made a great save against Switzerland. I think just pure reflex save that he made. I don't know who shot from the Swiss players, but it was quite close by. And he made a good save, pushes you onto the bar. So I think he's never let Gareth Southgate down. So as if I'm Gareth Southgate, I'm thinking Ramsdale, excellent keeper, honestly. And he's got years and years to come. There's no need for me to rush and kick Pickford out and put Ramsdale in that spot where he's under pressure,
Mm,
right?
mm,
From a young player's point of view, yes, Ramsdale may thrive in it, but at the same time, it could be one of the moments that could end his career,
yeah, yeah.
right? So Pickford is not done. If Pickford is not playing well, then I think it's justified. He's not playing well for his club team, but Everton are shambles anyway,
Mm,
right? They're absolutely torrid to watch. And but Pickford for England, I doubted him, but in the game against Switzerland, the highlights that I saw, I think he did very well. So I think he
I
warrants a
think it's
start, to
fair
be
to say
honest.
Ramsdale is the future,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
number one for England.
Ramsdale is going to be the future for a long, long, long time to come.
the
Well, he
David
picks.
Seaman. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. David Seaman, the Arsenal legend, Ramsdale. Wow, well, I
Yeah.
never thought we'll say that when we were buying him.
So well, exactly. Let's not go there though. Zed, let's move on a little bit because I think
Yeah, go on.
what I want to tie this next segment into is really sort of how it's a potential blessing in disguise.
Hmm.
Saka hopefully recovers from COVID in
Yeah.
good time. Hopefully, as you've just mentioned earlier about Ramsdale's hip injury, um, he gets back. Hopefully, our guy Smith Rowe comes back unscathed. I don't know what Martinelli's doing over in Brazil because he's obviously playing depending on
Yeah,
at the
he
moment.
did come on. I think
He
he
did
came
come on,
on.
didn't he?
Yeah, he did come on. Made his debut. So, which is congratulations to him. I think he deserves it.
Yeah,
Um,
he
so
has. He has. To be
he's
fair.
absolutely deserved it. So yeah, I think well done to him. But he didn't play the entire game. I think he only came on in
Was
the
it
second
20,
half.
20 minutes? I think he came
Yeah,
on
yeah,
for. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Last 20 minutes something. But again, I think it's well done for him. Brazil is a big, national team.
Well, let's do this then. Rather than going into the Palace game preview, let's go. Let's stick with the loan, not the loan, the international break.
Okay, go on.
Let's go with that then, because I think that there were a few players that you wanted to touch on, wasn't it, in terms of performances? Certainly,
Yeah, yeah.
Guendouzi, Pepe, Saliba.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's shifting around the narrative a bit of what we planned for the show, but yeah, let's touch on it anyway. Arsenal got a number of players out on loan. I think it's currently about 10 players from the
Yeah,
first team. That's a lot of players out on loan, by the way.
yeah.
And some of them were playing in the international break and they played some games. So we've got the likes of Saliba and Torreira playing for Spain, and then we
Mm.
had not an on loan player, but from the first team is Nicola Pepe. And I just wanted to see what that means for Arsenal. So
Let me
let's
just
just
correct you there. Did you say Torreira for Spain? Because
no, no,
Torreira,
no, no.
yeah,
Guendouzi and Saliba for
Saliba,
Spain,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and Pepe for Ivory Coast,
yeah.
yeah. So let's just have a look at what that means for Arsenal going forward. Obviously, William Saliba, I think he signed 3 years ago now, and he's yet
Yeah.
to make his Arsenal debut, which is a bit weird. But he was sent out on loan multiple times, and I think quite a lot of Arsenal fans have been very
Well, it's a
vocal.
controversial issue, the Saliba issue, because
It is very controversial. I
there
think
are
people,
some that think that Arteta and Saliba have some form of beef between them, hence why he's been repeatedly sending out on loan. There are a school of thought, said it or not, that Saliba has been sent out on loan for his development. He seems to be smashing it quite regularly for Marseille.
yeah, yeah, he
And
is
wasn't
playing
it
very well.
interesting the love that the Marseille fans had for not just Saliba when he came on in the French in the French game, but also for when Guendouzi came on and he got an assist from a
He
corner
got
as
an
well.
assist from a corner as well. Yeah, yeah.
There was lots of love from the crowd, so they're actually fan favourites over there, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's just they've been great this season for Marseille. It's just no ways about it. I think Guendouzi still has his attitude issues. I think there's been things coming out from the Marseille camp early in the
Really?
season. Yeah, I don't quite remember what they were now. I'll have to do some research on it. But there was some noise coming out from the Marseille crew early in the season. But I think it's
Mm.
just one of those things that he just needs to grow out of.
He's a good player, isn't he, Guendouzi? And I'm kind of split on him. And with my other Arsenal peers, there are regular debates about. Let's park Saliba for a second on the Guendouzi
Yeah,
issue. I'm always a believer that the club is bigger than the man,
of course, always, always.
and there's lots to ask me and say, would you rather have Guendouzi in that team or Chaka? I mean, by the way, I'd probably still go with Chaka on current form. I don't think there's any way that Guendouzi starts in our current team, but he is certainly one for the future. The problem
Yeah,
for me has always been, Zed, and you and I are always talking about this when we spoke about Guendouzi, is that Arteta's come in and he's set a bar. He's not afraid to take on the biggest of characters. Aubameyang is
no,
one of them
no.
that we've discussed extensively on pods one
Yeah,
to nine. In fact, he's mentioned on nearly every pod. So
yeah, he is.
the point is that yes, Arteta has come in and he wants to be a boss, right?
Yeah,
And Guendouzi crossed that on more than one occasion. There were reports, weren't they, about the bust up in Dubai. There were reports on what happened against Brighton,
Hmm.
and he was apparently asked Zed to apologise,
Yes, he was. Yeah,
and he
yeah,
refused. Now we have to take this back to our own respective work situations. When we make a mistake, let's say you're working, let's just say you're working in a front facing customer role and you make a mistake. What's your boss going to say to you? Your boss is going to say, would you go and apologize and just clear it up, right?
yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
if you've got the arrogance to turn around to your boss and say, well, actually, screw you and the customer, you're not really going to last very long in that job, are you? Let's be honest, you know?
No, no, and that's it. That's the level of maturity needed, right? As you said rightly, Arteta's come in and he set a standard for
Yeah.
culture, which was what we've been lacking for a very long time. Even towards the end of the great Arsene Wenger's time,
Yes.
the players got away with murder, right? Um, which isn't the case for Arteta. He set the bar and he set the bar very high to say you either behave this way or you don't play. I don't care how good you are. You could be a Ballon d'Or winner and I don't care because it's about setting the right examples. And that is what
Absolutely.
the club is about. So I think for me, I think it's good that Guendouzi is playing. He's playing in the French team.
Yes.
I think it's
Yeah.
good that he's playing because that raises his market value. So when
Mm.
Arsenal do want to sell in the summer, they should be able to get 30 odd, 40 odd million
I
for
don't
him.
think that's going to happen, Zed. I think the fee with Marseille has already been set. I don't know. I can't
Uh,
remember exactly what it is, but
or is it
this
like
is,
five
is
million or something?
well, this is it. This is a testament to how badly we've done our business. It was the same for our defender that went over to Stuttgart, um,
Mavropanos.
Mavropanos. Now, apparently, he's been smashing it out there,
He
and
has. He has been absolutely crazy.
he's actually being touted as one of the best young defenders in Europe,
Yep.
and he's absolutely smashing it. His stock has risen, but apparently, this club have only because of the real desperation to try and get rid of some of these players that they didn't think would have higher ceilings. Guendouzi is an example, as is
Hmm.
as is the chap at Stuttgart that you mentioned,
Yeah.
Mavropanos
Mavropanos.
rather.
Yeah. Yeah.
The club has just basically agreed very very sort of humble fees for them, let's say, and
Yeah.
that's unfortunate, really. I mean, it's the same situation I think for um, Bellerin, although I don't, but there's
No,
not a
no.
fee
I don't
there.
think. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's an option to buy
There's
in
no option
Bellerin's
there.
clause.
No,
No, but I do think there may
somebody
be an
else I'm
option to
thinking
buy.
of. There's
Uh,
another
there's
person.
not one on Saliba. I think it may be one on Torreira for
There
about
is one
18 mil.
Torreira, but I wasn't thinking Torreira. There's somebody else that's out on loan that actually there's quite a very low fee that's been agreed. I'm sure it'll come back to me later anyway. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the Guendouzi thing is that had we left that very open and said, look, it's a straight loan,
Hmm.
in some ways, I know I've just slated him and whatnot, but in some ways, seeing him play, I almost hope that there was a window for him to come back. Had this boy gone out and really matured, because he is playing well for Marseille, isn't he, Guendouzi? To be
Yes,
fair, he's doing
I think
really well.
he's doing decent. I think he's scored about three goals, league goals or something. So he's doing decent from a midfield player, right? It's the dynamic midfield player that we need next to Partey, something that
Yes,
Jacques has been doing getting forward, right? But I don't know if, but I think it comes back to the attitude problem. I
yeah,
don't think Arteta, if he can get rid of Aubameyang the way he did, I don't think Guendouzi is a big enough a player to say, you know what, I'm
no,
going to
no,
compromise.
and it's clearly not going to happen because
It's not.
obviously
It's not.
they're
So I
happy with
think,
him and the fees right
yeah.
for them as well. And you're absolutely right. I think look what we've seen with the recent stories around Özil and everything that's happened. We do not need any bad blood, right, in the
No, no,
squad.
exactly,
And if
exactly.
and if and
Uh,
if we were playing really really poorly, continuing to play poorly, then you've got probably a little bit of excuse to say, "Ooh, what would it be like if Guendouzi was still around?" But we're not actually. We're doing really well, Zed,
yeah,
and
we
we
are.
don't miss him.
No, and I think we do need. Look, we do need a centre midfielder, right? There's no question about that. There is a need for a centre midfielder, but I don't think Guendouzi is the answer to that.
No.
But getting back to Saliba, on the
Mm.
contrary, then
Now this is a big
different stuff.
subject. This
Yeah,
is a
it's a big
big,
subject.
massive. It's a Saliba issue, Zed. Forgive me for interrupting. It's absolutely divided our fan base. A Saliba issue.
Yeah,
What's
and I think that
what's your? I want to ask you this, Zed. What's your? You see, I must admit, when he was sent out on loan, what is it, a third time?
Third time, yeah, three
Yeah,
years in a row.
I was a little bit dubious. I don't
Hmm.
think at that point our business had all been done, and I was like, no, no. I tell you what, it was for me actually. I tell you what was a shocker. Not just the, not it was when he wasn't selected for the Europa League last season. That got
Yeah,
me.
that was quite weird.
That was a really weird, questionable thing, and that's why the fan base is really, really split on Saliba because again, like Guendouzi, he's gone out and he's smashing it, and he's probably doing better actually than Guendouzi is. But I want to know where are you on the Saliba issue
Okay, just to add on from the last point, I don't think there is an option to buy, as far as I can
for
see,
Saliba?
for no, no, for Guendouzi, right? There is definitely one for Mavropanos. I
Yeah,
don't know how much it is, but it definitely is quite low, probably about 4 or 5 mil, and he's worth about 20 mil now. But yeah, so I don't think there is an option to buy on
I
Guendouzi. I think
thought
there
there
is a
was
fee that
something.
can be agreed.
I thought there was something around 16 million. That
It
yeah,
may be, and I'm just doing the research as we
yeah,
speak, to
yeah,
be
yeah.
honest.
Maybe
So
it's press talk then. Maybe that's what the press are telling us, and
yeah,
we don't know
so
exactly what the real deal is. But no, I did hear it on a number of occasions that Guendouzi's a goner.
yeah, I think they probably do have some kind of an option to buy. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, to be honest.
Mm,
But obviously, these contract details aren't always made public,
no,
right? So let's Guendouzi
back
for
to
us. So
Saliba.
those go back to Saliba. So I think there is very very clear news that there isn't an option to buy in his contract.
Yeah, and
There
so there
isn't even
shouldn't be.
a little bit of room for negotiation because Arsenal shut it down and were very very clear to Marseille. It's a straight loan and nothing else because we want him to develop,
Yeah,
right? I think it was very, very clear that they want him to develop. And considering the fact that we've sent out Murray on a loan, which seems like to be the one that's going to get done as well, probably.
yeah,
I think Pablo Murray is gone. We don't have left side centre back anymore, so probably that's gone. And so there is a need for, if especially if we're getting rid of what you call Mavropanos, then there is a need for another centre back to be in there alongside Rob Holding, to be
mm,
challenging for those spots, and especially if Arsenal get Europe, to be playing once a week,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I think Saliba for me still is within Arsenal's plan. I think Mikel Arteta's what he's seen is that this very raw young talent, right?
yeah,
And to be throwing him in, no matter how passionate he is, to be throwing him in into a situation where Arsenal were not in a good place at that point. The culture was probably not the best. The players and the way the team was playing wasn't the best. So he probably thought, this is my assumption now, that Saliba, and it's going to be a very controversial thing, but Saliba was probably an impressionable young lad who's come in, and you've got a bunch of players who really aren't playing for the club, right? You've got a lot of players, a lot of deadwood that has to be get rid of, and the culture to be set
yeah,
right, especially when he takes over from Unai Emery. So I think what he decides is the fact, look, it's not, yeah, you need a bit more game time, but right now is probably not the time to give you that game time at Arsenal because it's not about the developing of the youth. It's about
yeah,
getting to the end of the season, doing what we can do, bringing my own players in, setting up a club such that when we welcome you back, you come at the right frame of mind and the right time,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
that's my theory on it.
You've got to
So
remember as well, Zed, in that, which you may have forgotten to mention, is that he had some personal problems as well, didn't he, last
he did,
season?
he did. Yeah, I think one of his parents passed away,
His
unfortunately,
mom
as
passed
well.
away, yeah,
His mom,
yeah,
yeah, so he's having to deal with a lot of stuff, and it wasn't right to put him in a club. So, with respect to Marseille, right, the pressure that comes from playing in Marseille in your own home country with your own fans is different to playing in another country and at a big club in that country as Arsenal,
yeah, yeah,
right? New place, new people, new environment, everything is new, and you just get shocked. It's
yeah.
probably not a good place for a young player and a young lad who's what, 18, 19, right? Who's just lost a parent and probably has things to prove.
At that
Rather
point,
than
yeah,
jeopardize his entire future, the decision was probably made to say, look, go out, play in an environment that you're familiar with, smash it out there, and now that he's proven it, I will find it very, 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 very hard to defend Mikel Arteta if he says Saliba is not for us. You've gotten rid of what you call Mavropanos, who's smashing it. Clearly, he's a good player, and I think he made his debut when Arsene Wenger was still around,
yeah, he did,
right?
yeah,
So Mislintat identified him and I've always liked him because he put in one of the best performances I've seen against Man U
Yeah,
when he got a red card, unfortunately, as well. But he was solid at the back,
he
but he
was.
never really got the chance. So that's disappointing. But I think like he's gone and it's better for him, so I'm happy for him. Right?
Yeah,
He smashes it in Germany. If he smashes it for another season, he'd probably end up in Bayern Munich, like most
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's very
in the
true.
Bundesliga, right?
Yeah,
So, but Saliba for me, just to wrap this up, he has to be integrated back into the squad, and with four centre backs, as in White, Holding, Gabriel, and Saliba, that's a good click of
yes.
centre backs that you can start in,
I think
that you can
that's
throw on.
quite an elite bunch. Yeah, yeah,
I think that's a decent bunch. I think you've got and someone who can push Ben White to say, okay, I can steal your starting spot, because right now it seems like Gabriel and Ben White are so in the team that I don't think they're looking over their shoulder. That Rob Holding's been
true.
great when he come off the bench, right?
Yeah,
But it doesn't look like he's challenging them for the starting spots.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want a player in there who I think is Saliba to challenge them to really say, you miss up one, make one mistake, I'm in there,
yeah,
because I'm performing day in day out in Europe. I'm performing day in day out in the FA Cups and the
yeah,
League Cups and whatever I
yeah.
have it. I'm getting game time, and you better be watching over your shoulder.
And let's give consideration to the Manchester City model. That they've got four or five elite centre backs there
Yeah.
that have to push each other. And as I say to some of the reckoners that try and challenge my view on this is, well, Saliba's he's a talented boy. He's a lad that has got lots and lots of bags of talent, and he will make it
Yes,
at
absolutely.
this level. But he's got no God-given right to walk into the team, And I
No, no,
don't,
absolutely. No one has.
and I don't think, and this is what's going to bring us on to the next segment when I ask you, Zed, about any particular tensions. No,
Hmm.
absolutely. I would say any player that isn't playing should be unhappy by not playing. But are you going to
Yes.
take it to the level of where it's going to create an environment of tension? Well, that's where you need to draw the line. What I would say is on the Saliba issue is that he will be one day our starting centre back, be it in hopefully a European competition. All of the good teams, all of the best teams, the elite teams have a separate squad, for a starting team for their European games and one for their Premier
Hmm.
League games. And sometimes it's the same. But
Yeah.
I have absolutely no doubt that his ceiling is way much higher than even we are seeing right now. He's a great centre back, and he seems a really, really good young lad who will make it at Arsenal, I have no doubt. But there are sections out there that believe that he won't come back and that actually all of these loans are a preparation for him to be eventually, raise his stock and sold. And those same individuals are saying that they believe that there is a level of tension between Arteta. Now, let me tell you where I stand on that before I ask
Hmm.
you, Zed. Is
Yeah,
that
go on.
I purely think that Arteta, there's too much talent there in Saliba for it not to be resolved if there was anything there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm absolutely agreeing with anybody. How can you not? I think how can you not be pissed off with the fact that he's been sent out for three loans in a row? How can you not
Yeah.
be pissed off about not being selected in the um, squad? The squad, very very large squad, that was
Very large one.
for the
Loaded
Europa
squad.
League.
Four goalkeepers.
Yes, I know, and I was baffled by that as the next one was. However, what I would say is that the kid is 19 years old, right? There is plenty of football to play. He will get his chance, and provided he just bides his time a little bit, I think Arteta will bring him in and patiently bring him into the team when he is ready, right? But what I want to ask you is, do you see
Hmm.
anything in tensions there between him and Mikel Arteta?
I think it's been said in the media quite a lot that there's been tensions. Obviously, he said himself that Mikel Arteta only saw him play for about 20 minutes and then made a decision that he wasn't good enough. But I think there is a misunderstanding there. I
Mm,
think Arteta has a very harsh way of judging players. He has a very harsh treatment. You have to live up to his standards, and that's right. For any top manager, you have to earn their trust. You have to show them that you can play, right? It doesn't matter. Remember, I go back to the example I've given in the previous pods about Guardiola coming in and just saying to Joe Hart, I've seen 5 minutes of you. I've had enough. Bye.
Yeah.
Right? And
Savage.
Joe Hart was England #1 and Man City legend at that point,
Yeah.
essentially. Right? They
Yeah.
were starting keeper without any movable. Guardiola comes in and says, "You, I don't like you because you can't do what I ask and go away." Right?
Mm.
Hart tried to prove himself, credit to him, but where is his career now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So I
Absolutely.
think there is an element, and it's right that the coach has the say. The coach has to come in, the manager has to come in and say, prove to me that you can play. And Arteta, if he's judged him too harshly too quickly, maybe something that he needs to improve on.
Yeah.
But as it currently stands, I don't think there is major issues. I think what they've seen is a raw talent. And
Mm.
for his growth, they've said go play in a league a bit more where you can grow, where you can play good players, where you can play day in, day out. Because here you're not going to get games day in, day out, and that could probably stunt your growth,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Well, this is what I
So
ask. I say, are you preferring to see him smash it every week for Marseille and getting those 90 minutes every week, or what's our alternative this season with the games that we've got? Because we've only got one game a week, basically, haven't we?
exactly,
Is
exactly.
do you prefer when he just comes on in the Rob Holding
Five
role for,
minutes.
for 5-10 minutes here and there?
He may not get in front of Rob Holding either.
And that's true. That is
That's
true.
right. So
Yeah,
because Rob Holding's come in and he has absolutely smashed it every time he's been asked
he's
to
a
do a job.
Premier League proven defender. Yeah,
Exactly. So right when Arteta needs to chuck a big guy on to clear everything with his head and to support Ben White and Gabriel, he chucks Rob Holding on and he does an insane job.
yeah.
Off the bench, I think Rob Holding is slowly becoming Arsenal's key player off the bench. Right.
In
So
certain situations, I would agree with you. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you want to see
Yeah.
out a game and you're under
Yeah.
pressure,
He's
who
been
he's
brilliant.
been
Yeah.
brilliant, and who else do you want to have a player like that
Yeah.
to be able to come back and count on? But anyway, mate, I think we've talked enough about Saliba's point.
It's a big issue though, Zed. It's a big issue that the fan base is split on, and I know that we'll probably get quite a lot of opinions and listeners from some of our fans on that. So let's
I'm
let's
looking
let's
forward to the comments.
yeah, let's do it. I mean, it's not about agreeing with each other always, but yeah, let's move on then. So I mean, we touched on obviously Guendouzi as well. Do you want to say something about Pepe's goal because I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I think I just want to say again, Pepe is every day now trying to stake that claim to have a starting role, and I think he's proving the fact. And mind you, this is the world champions. They may not be at full strength, but they're still the world champions. And he literally that goal is fantastic, and he's with
Yeah,
his right foot, so you can see he's been working on the fact that he can use his other foot.
yeah,
So I think Pepe now has to get more game time. We've talked about this in the previous pods as well, that there needs to be a rotation option with Saka. Next season, Arsenal hopefully are in Europe, and Pepe should be getting a starting role.
yeah. And you don't want to preview the Palace game because you think that it's a foregone conclusion on who's going to start. But if
I mean,
Saka's
we,
if,
we could touch on it, but yeah,
it's as I
I
say,
don't think.
if Saka's you see, COVID affects people in different ways, doesn't it? Really, and
Yes, of course, yeah,
if
yeah.
Saka's coming back just from having recovered from it, he would have done his obviously his 8, 9, 10 days, whatever it is, by the time we play. However, um, Pepe just might be that little bit more fresh.
Oh, 100, but not just might. I think he definitely will be the fresher of two players
Hmm.
because Saka's probably been on the sideline. He's not training. He's resting up at least for half that time,
And
right?
Pepe will
He's
want to
probably gonna.
see his opposite number in Zaha there as well on the pitch. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Pepe has a point to prove, right? And you've touched on it in previous pods as well. He's a good finisher in
yeah.
the season when it comes to it. When it comes to crunch time, he scored about 10 goals in the last 10 games last season, and we were hoping to see a bit more of an uptake. But because of the lack of games and because of the solidarity and the starting 11 that Arteta has put together,
You can't see
you
that
can
changing.
name you can't see that changing because
No.
that's the what you call starting 11. You want to preview the game, but I'm telling you, we know exactly every single player that's going to play,
Yeah,
right?
potentially. Yeah,
Potentially. So if I was to say number one, let's say if Ramsdale is back, it's Ramsdale, but I think they may rest him just to be on the safe side,
yeah,
right? Depending on the extent of his hip injury, they may rest him. So I think for me, Bernd Leno will start. You
yeah.
agree with that?
I don't know the extent of Ramsdale's injury. I mean, they did say 2 to 3 weeks, didn't they originally?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'll be time by the time the
Yeah,
Palace game comes around.
I think.
Because
Look,
remember, he
having
missed the last
seen,
game as well.
yeah, he did, and having seen Bert Leno in the last game against Villa, which I thought, to be fair, we may not get anything out of when that team came out. I'm not worried too much, to be fair.
No,
I
no, I
think
think it's a good,
we've got
good
two
backup keeper to
we've
have.
got two class keepers, haven't we? Really, but yeah,
Yeah,
I would say that as things stands at the moment, I would agree with you that it's likely to be
yeah,
Leno.
Lena. So back four, absolutely not going to change. Don't think Tomiyasu is game ready yet either. So I think Cedric will start. He's been international duty, so he'll start. And he
Mm.
didn't play; he was on the bench. So I think he'll start along with Ben White, Gabriel, and Tierney. Absolutely no issue there.
No,
Right. Midfielders, Party and Xhaka. They're not even. Well, it's a 4-3-3 rather, but
we are praying to God long and hard through the night that Party comes back from international duty injury free.
injury free. Yeah, that's a big one
And
because
how
if not
sad would
Party,
it be if, I mean, he's just finding his form now, the last 10 games,
yeah,
and
he
it would
really has.
just be really pissy if he were to get an injury now and be out for a few more games.
Hopefully not.
But
Hopefully
it's a
not.
very
We'll see
Arsenal
him.
thing. It's a very Arsenal thing to happen. So don't put it past us.
It
But
is
yeah,
indeed.
so Party and
It is
Chaka you're
indeed.
going for then in that midfield.
But Party, well, it's three-man midfield these days. The way it plays is Party, Xhaka, and Odegaard. Really, I don't think Odegaard's movable from that midfield anymore.
No, I would agree. And then he scored
He's
a banger as well, didn't he?
oh,
In
absolutely.
international duty, they're all scoring bangers. I mean, this is, but isn't it? I mean, we're joking about it, but this is what the club football does. It gives you the confidence, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. He looks like a different player.
Odegaard looks a different. Absolutely, he looks like a complete opposite, polar opposite player.
Yeah, he looks confident. He looks like doing the work, and you know what? He's captain of his nation. Bloody hell, at this age,
Yeah,
you know, and he's captaining players like Erling Haaland. So
yeah.
it's a big thing to be able to do
So
that. He's
Odegaard, Party, and Xhaka in that midfield, and then who are you?
absolutely
Who then are these? If I mean, I think Lacazette is nailed on. He's not being anywhere, so he'll be
yeah,
fresh.
Lacazette on.
And then
Uh,
really, it's about what kind of Martinelli comes back, and what kind of
yeah,
Saka comes back.
I think it depends on when Martinelli comes back. If he's back in time, he starts. I think. If he's not back in time, then Emil Smith Rowe starts.
Yeah.
In terms of Saka, I think we already touched upon it. If he isn't 100%, well, if he's 80%, I think Arteta starts him, to be honest, the way he is right now.
Mm.
Because he's got 14 odd goal involvements in the Prem, so I think he's our best player this season, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but if he's anything less than 80%, I think Pepe will start.
Yeah, and I don't think I would have an issue with that, to be honest with you. I think Saka would probably make the bench, and you can always bring him on. But
Yeah, absolutely.
what about the result now? I mean, if we touched on it earlier at the
Oh,
beginning of the pod, we talked about the potential freshness, loss of momentum maybe within that. What do you think, Zed, in terms of a result? I mean, don't forget, Palace are a little bit of our bogey team. We don't play well against them even when we play at home. They seem to just snap a result out of us, snatch like a last minute goal. Or, I mean, don't forget at home earlier this season, they were winning if it wasn't for that
yes, there were.
Lacazette goal in the last kick of the game, wasn't it? That corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just about to interrupt you and say it's us nicking the last minute goal rather than them, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I mean,
So it,
of recent, but don't forget that was for a draw, Zed.
yeah, exactly,
That was for a
exactly.
draw. That wasn't for a win. We should be beating. Look, on paper, we should be beating Palace at home. You know?
Well, I think that's the thing. I wouldn't look at paper anymore
No.
because Vieira's done a very good job. The squad turnover has been immense, and some of the players, bloody hell, they've got in there just pure talent. I can see they have a very, very high ceiling compared to the old teams that they had,
Yeah.
right? So I think Zaha kind of looks tired in that team of what you call Elise and what you call Eze running
Yeah.
around doing
Yeah.
everything, and then you got Oddward and other players coming on. So I think they are very fresh and hard running, hard fighting team.
Yeah. That's right. They're a
Very
different
very
outfit,
hard.
aren't they, under Vieira?
They're a
Yeah.
different outfit to what they were last time. And Patrick Vieira, if he ever wants to be an Arsenal manager, I will take him.
Oh well, he's prepping well out there, isn't he? He's learning well.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, he's done very well. I think the squad's been built very. very very well on the cheap as well. So I think they're defensively quite solid. Attacking, they have flair. So I think it'd be a
What do
difficult
we
game
need
for
to
them.
we what do we need to do, Zed, to beat Palace then? Do we
I think
do we
it's
go at
about,
them?
oh, you have to go at them, right?
Mm,
There's no way you're going to break them without going at them, right?
mm,
You have to go at them, and you have to play your own game. That's what
mm.
differentiates you from
Do you think it's a
any other
game?
team.
I do, but do you think it's a game where we'll have most of the ball?
Oh, I think possession will be slightly in our favor.
Mm,
I think for me the split's going to be about 55 to 45, roughly
mm,
around there.
mm.
It's not going to be all that different unless Vieira really sets up to dig deep,
Yeah.
which we're not Man City, right? So I wouldn't have been thinking that he would do that. So I think for me, if Arsenal are going to do it, I think it's going to be 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was going to say exactly the same. I think there'll
Yeah,
probably be a Gabriel header off a corner, and it's not
something.
like we're not even sitting back, is it? These days, we're
No,
actually
no.
controlling games really well, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think the issue is going to be with Palace for them because of the space they have up front. It's about the counter. You have to
Yeah.
be really, really aware of the counter because Elise and Eze, right? These are very, very good players, very good young
Elise
players.
was one of ours, wasn't he?
Yeah, Eze was as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So yeah, I think they're very, very good players, right? And Zaha's always tricky. He just turns up against us. I think it's probably that failed transfer getting him motivated.
Yeah, definitely. And then actually seeing
Right.
Pepe there just to boost
Yeah,
it.
just
Yeah,
to piss him off a bit more.
yeah,
Yeah, so I think for me, if I'm going to call it, I'm going to be positive on this because I think Arsenal do need a result. So I'm going to say 1-0 to the
yeah.
Arsenal.
I'm going to be with you, and I think look, he's got to get them up for this game like it's no tomorrow, because this is probably the game that we'd be slipping up on if there was a game at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah, no,
This
absolutely. I
is a
think
banana
the
skin
Arsenal
game.
fold,
Yeah, this
yeah,
is a
the
banana
Arsenal
skin.
fold would definitely slip up on this.
And look, I'm still, the jury's open for me in terms of top four, and as I've always said, it's never done until it's done. But I
No,
think we've got, then after this we've got Brighton at home, if I remember correctly,
yes,
and then I think we've got, I want to say Manchester United. No, we haven't got Manchester United.
no, we've got another game. I think
We've got,
Southampton,
is
then
it
Manchester.
Southampton? Yes. So
Southampton, then Chelsea, then Man United,
that's right. So
and then West Ham.
I'd say that if we're going to go into this little mini run with momentum, then we need to get a result. And when I say a result, we need to win this game, because then I
We need to
think,
win. I think for the next 3 games,
yeah,
nine
I
points
think
is ideal.
yes, I think
7 is minimum.
yes, I would agree with that, because Brighton at home, I think, should be 3 points. If you're going to get your top
Should be.
four, Brighton at home has to be win. You get your three
Yeah,
points at Palace, and then who did you say after
I think Southampton.
Southampton
I would
away?
say so.
Again,
I think
I think that's 3 points as well, because they're not doing too well at the moment. I think, didn't Everton recently beat them in the cup?
yeah. Oh, was it Everton? No, Everton lost. Oh, I think they did. I think someone beat them. Don't remember. But yeah, they
Yeah,
lost 4-0 to someone. Uh, but it wasn't Everton. I think it
no,
was
it
someone
wasn't.
else. I think Leicester probably beat them 4-0.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean,
Or someone did.
they're not in their purple patch as they were earlier in the season, is what I'm trying to say. So
No, no.
I mean, I wouldn't like a draw out there at Southampton. I'm saving the draws for hopefully against your Chelsea away,
Mhm.
and I think again Manchester United at home is 3 points for me.
Yeah, well, it depends on which Manchester United turns up and what Ronaldo does, honestly, because it's all on him
Yeah, yeah,
to pull really rabbits out of the hat. So, I think for me, and we touched on it on the last part as well. The next 3 games, 7 points is the absolute minimum, and the draw that I'm willing to swallow is Crystal Palace away because that's the team they are. Brighton and Southampton play more open gung ho football, so there's more chance of scoring, right?
yeah.
So I think that's where we are with those. But yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's what
let's
I've got to
move.
say on that one. Yeah.
Let's move on then, because we've recently, in the last few days, or certainly last week or so, we've been linked to guys, um, two strikers in particular. Darwin Nunes.
Hmm.
Where did we say he's from? Not Colombian.
No,
Um,
no, no. So he's Uruguayan. So he's
Uruguayan,
same
Uruguayan
as Luis
striker, Luis
Suarez and
Jaime
Lucas
Suarez.
Torreira.
and plays for in the Portuguese league. Plays for
Yeah, Liga
Porto.
Portugal.
Yeah,
I think he plays for Benfica.
Benfica. So tell me
Yeah.
about him because I look. I hear the links and I go on YouTube and I have a look, but YouTube can make me look good. So you
I
know,
mean, you two makes us look like bloody Ronaldo and Messi.
yeah, absolutely. So what do we know
It's the
about this
quick cuts.
guy? And let's talk about Darwin Nunes first. What do we know about him? I mean, we know he scored a hatful of goals there in the
Yeah,
Portuguese league. Yeah.
so he's a 22-year-old Uruguayan centre forward.
So fits the age
Um,
profile.
he fits the age profile. He's 6 foot plus, so he's tall guy, taller than Laka, uh, certainly. So for reference, Laka's my height. So
I was going to say it's not too hard to beat Laka then in height, is it?
no, no,
No.
no. But exactly. So, um, considering a 22-year-old is 6 foot plus, there's only one way they go, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So he's played what you call 33 games this season across Champions League, what you call league and cups and everything else, and he scored 26 goals. So that's a elite return. He's got 4 goals in the Champions League as well, 20 in the league, and 2 in the cup. So he's doing very well for a 22-year-old playing in the Liga NOS in what you call Benfica. So yeah,
Are
I
they
think
talking about something
if
around 60 million ish? Is that what the yeah?
I think 60 million would be quite a lot for him, to be honest. I think he's a 40 mil, 45 mil kind of a player.
Yeah, but
Um,
nobody is 40 mil anymore though, Zed, either. That's the problem.
I mean, for a 22-year-old who's only had one season, it's hard to say, oh yeah,
No, I
he's
get you.
worth 60 million, right? So if because again, if you're looking at 60 million, then you're looking at players like Gabby Jesus from Man
Mm,
City,
mm,
a Premier League proven player, rather than a 60 million punt on Darwin Nunes. And
yeah,
Gabby Jesus isn't exactly old.
yeah. See, it doesn't
He's
sound like
24,
you're
25.
you're convinced on him too tough
Look,
at the
I'm
moment.
convinced on him as a young player. Definitely, I think it's worth a punt, right? I think
Yeah.
definitely you can get this kind of a player in, but not for 60 million. 60
Mm,
million plus, you're looking at your Lautaro Martinez.
yeah, yeah. I'd
Yeah,
prefer
that's your
him.
elite level. So
Yeah.
would you not prefer Lautaro Martinez for 75 mil for the extra 15 mil than
Of
go
course,
for?
yeah, I would.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So right, if 75 mil you're gonna get Lautaro Martinez, why would you spend 60 on Darwin Nunes?
yeah.
I think he's a good striker. I would love to have him as a backup striker or even one for the future. But
Controversial. Mm,
yeah, of course. I think, but that is if they're gonna say, you know what, we don't need Laka staying and we don't need anyone else, and we're gonna bank all our what you call money on this kid. It's a hard pill to swallow. I'm looking for a player, elite level player who takes the team to the next level, and
mm,
Darwin Nunes could be that player, but I don't know enough about him to say he is. I mean, people have come, well, a player has come from Portuguese league and smashed it in what you call Premier League in Bruno Fernandes,
yes, he
right?
has.
He's absolutely smashed it. So, I mean, he's got a contract till about 2025. So by this summer, he's got 2 years left, right? As a 22-year-old, 40 mil seems like a fair payment for him.
Mm.
Anything above that, I think, is a waste of money.
Yeah. Okay. Fair comment. Slightly more name closer to home now, and
Yeah.
you know my thoughts on this player. I'm a massive fan myself, not just because of what he does on the pitch when he was on some better form, but certainly for what he does off the pitch and his commercial value. Marcus Rashford has been very, very strongly linked. All of the outlets have talked about Marcus Rashford, Arsenal offering a way out of his nightmare, which he's enduring at the moment at Manchester
Mm.
United. Again, I'm
Yeah.
just listening to other podcasts today, driving in the car. It's another 50-50 split for the fan base. Some are saying that this is Welbeck Mark II and that he's washed up. Others are saying,
Mm.
well, actually, let's look at his numbers in the last 2 or 3 seasons. He has been an elite striker for Manchester United. Again, I think he's only 23 years old.
He's
He's
24
is
now.
he 24 now? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm slightly out of date there. Still fits the age profile in terms of what Arsenal are looking for. I think personally, and this is what others are saying as well, is that he needs a new challenge.
Yep.
And I think if you can get him firing again, again, you're probably going to have an opinion on system and whether he's the right player for us because he is a run behind defence kind of player, and we're looking for that more back to goal kind of striker. But I would say, and I know you talked about the money with Darwin Nunes a few minutes ago. It wouldn't be somebody that I would be going out and again splashing that 50, 60, 70 million on just because of what you have said for exactly the same
Hmm.
reasons in terms of who you could bring in for a little bit more. But I think he's got 2 years left on his contract, this season and next season left on his contract. I think at the right price, and I think his wages are probably going to be of issue as well because
Yep.
he's on quite. But I think because of the commercial value that he adds to the club, certainly Manchester United are benefiting from that. He's a great celebrity off the pitch. He's a very, very grounded, and I think coming back to my analysis of the situation in terms of what Arteta is looking for, I think attitude is there almost beyond talent in some cases, right?
Yep.
Now he's clearly at Manchester United. Zed for me, he's finished there. I don't think that
Mm.
he could be wound back up again. I think he's
Yep.
done out there. I think the fans have probably finished with him as well. I think he's done out in Manchester United. He clearly needs another challenge. Could it be? I'm asking you. Could it be that the right coach could come along, someone like Arteta, put his arm around him and say, "Look, we respect everything you do on and off the pitch. We can get you firing again. Nice little bit of coaching. Play him in the right system, because he can play a wide striker role as well as through the middle."
Yep.
I would say we could do a lot worse.
I think that's quite a fair comment, I would say. So just I think as far as I'm aware, his contract goes in 2023, so he'll have a
Correct.
year left,
He has a
right?
year left,
A
and
year
he
left on
has
his
an
contract.
extension. Manchester United
Ah,
rather
okay.
have an extension to add the year,
They
so
can
that
add an
that's
extension,
that's
so
that's in their gift to do that.
gift.
So he's
If
obviously
they're gonna sell him, they will do it, right?
yeah, and this is
Because you
what I
get
was.
more money.
That's why I say he's got 2 years because it's as good as you're not gonna. You'd extend the year to get more money out of him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to look back, right? So I'm just gonna look at Premier League. So 1920 season, he scored 17 Premier League goals and 9 assists,
Mm.
right? Which is quite a
It's
decent
very good.
number of
He's scored more than
very good.
Lacazette has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2020 and 2021, he's got 11 goals, 11 assists. So again, decent. I would expect a bit more from a striker, but again, he plays out wide. This season, though, he's had an absolute torrid time.
Yes.
19 appearances, 4 goals, 2 assists in the what you call league, right?
Mm.
And he hasn't played many minutes, by the way,
No.
right? Because he's dropped down the pecking order. Ronaldo's come in, Cavani's come in. You've got Sancho, Bruno, Pogba. You've got a lot of, it's a stacked squad, and he's fell down the pecking order. And obviously, this news has come in because his head's dropped a bit. He's not confident. It's coming in the media that okay, it's very it's part of his lazy journalism, to be honest,
Yes.
because you've got a player who doesn't want to be where he is, not because he's said so, it's because he's having a hard time. And here's a big English club that's looking for an English centre forward potentially because Arsenal made an effort to get English players last summer,
Mm.
right? So it's very lazy journalism to say pick a hat and this is what it is. So in terms of what my take is, so for me, Marcus Rashford is Manchester United. He's a local lad, right? He grew up watching the team. He grew up supporting the team. He grew up around the area, right? He's made his way through. He's been there since what I think 5 years now since he made it out of the academy,
Yeah.
right? So he's an academy lad who's come through, and there's that connection he has with the fans. So I disagree with you on the part the fans are done with him. I think the fans want him to be back at his best, and this is me reacting as if this was Saka,
Mm.
right? No matter how bad Saka gets, I don't think I'll ever be in a position where I'll say sell him,
Mm.
right?
Our
Because
fan
he
base is very different to theirs, though. Zed. You
possibly, but for me, right, looking at it, I don't think Rashford want to move to Arsenal.
Mm.
he has a chance, depending on if Eric Ten Hag or whatever coach comes in and they jig up the
You're
squad
right.
to
He
prove
does.
himself,
He does. He
right?
does.
He
Yeah.
has a chance to prove himself one more time and endear himself to the fans, and I think he'll give himself that shot,
Should I tell you
right?
what the knife edge is for me?
Go on.
The knife edge for me is whether Ronaldo stays an extra season or not.
Ronaldo will stay. I think
If Ronaldo
Ronaldo.
stays another season there, Zed, for
Hmm.
me, I'm not saying he'll come to Arsenal, but he's done out there at United.
Yeah, but who's he gonna get? Look, as a Man U fan and a Man U player, he's not going to Liverpool. He's not going to City, right? His options are Arsenal, Tottenham, or Chelsea. He's not going to Chelsea because Chelsea have also stacked and they don't have any money anymore,
Yeah,
right? Uh, Tottenham could possibly afford him, but these are the people who will say, let me loan him for a season,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And even then, you're going to play second fiddle to
He
Harry
could
Kane.
go abroad though, couldn't he, Zed?
Well, that's the advantage, right? So he can go abroad like Tammy has, and Tammy's smashing it
He
in
could go to
Roma.
PSG, for
He
example.
could go. Well, I don't think he'll go to PSG. He'll have to go to someone a bit step lower,
Mm.
right? And this is where the issue is. I think if he is the person who I think he is, right? The image that I have of him is that very serious, sensible young lad who's got something about himself. He backs himself. He does this. Yes, his head's dropped. Yes, he's thinking about it because he's dropped in the pecking order and he's in the media all the time
Mm.
for the first time for the wrong reasons.
Mm.
Not because of anything he did,
No,
but
no,
because
because everything
that's
else he
just
does in the media is brilliant, isn't it? To be
it's
fair,
what absolutely he's a wonderful, wonderful person,
he is.
right? Right? And he's done more for people than any other footballer has done
Yeah,
for a long
yeah,
time, right?
absolutely.
So and at a very young age, so this very I'm very respectful of Marcus Rashford, whoever he plays for, regardless of who he plays
Yeah,
for, right?
yeah, I'm the same.
So I think for me, what I know of him, obviously from afar, I don't know the man personally, but I think it's a no go. I don't think he'll come to Arsenal. I don't think he'll do that yet. He will give it another shot with the new manager
Mm.
because we know this manager is not staying. We know Ralph Ragnick is not the manager.
No,
It's either Eric Ten Hag or someone who he can put is as you said, it picking up from your point of view, which says put his arm around him and say, look, listen, lad, you've got something about you, and we're going to make it work. Because Ronaldo, Cavani, all of these guys, they're not long-term solutions,
no.
right? They've got a season in them, 2 seasons in them max. Rashford has got 10 seasons in him,
Mm.
right? You've got Sancho, you've got Rashford, you've got Bruno, right?
Yeah,
Any sensible manager will make that his trident.
let's see. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens. It all. It look.
But yeah,
There's
for
so
for
many
me,
different.
this is
Yeah.
lazy journalism, and it's not a go.
I,
I
I
will be
don't know.
very very surprised if it is.
I'm glad we disagree on something there, Zed. I don't know. I actually think there is something in this. I think there's multiple sources have reported it. I think he has been well documented around talking about his unhappy status at the club.
Of
Um,
course he is. We,
and,
we,
and
we touched on it earlier, but
yeah,
no, if a player isn't starting, they should be unhappy because that's
where
all
I
they
give
know.
your argument some credit is just that one iota area of he may just want to wait and see what the new coach says, Ten Hag.
Yeah,
He might
exactly.
he might just want to say, well, do you know what? I've got a bit of time here.
Yeah.
Let's see what. But then,
See what?
but this is where the club might come in and go, well, we're not going to give him the time to wait around. We've actually we've lined up Haaland or we've lined up whoever. You know,
Please, they need to get Champions League football before they
yeah,
think of
yeah, yeah.
Haaland.
I'm joking there, obviously, but what I'm saying is that if they secure a striker, you know, somebody elite, Marcus Rashford days are numbered there.
Yeah, no, I mean I understand that, right? But if you're a local lad, if you're a youth academy product, and they've got Anthony Alanga
Well,
now coming through
Danny
as well.
Welbeck was a youth academy product there, and he left. He
Look,
actually
yeah,
played very well for them. I mean, he wasn't as bad as a lot of people
no, no,
make
he
out.
was worse for us. He
He
was
will,
worse for us.
he will exactly, but he was actually he scored a lot of important goals for Manchester United. Marcus did Welbeck. I wouldn't put it down to Zed just the fact that he's come out of their academy that he'll give some loyalty. And the other thing as well is that I don't think you maybe caught the traction is the fans are their fans are they're very ruthless fans of United supporters, and I think I'm not saying the complete fan base, but not all of them are reasonable people like you and me, right? If you look at social media, they are very much, oh, look at him, he's slouching his shoulders, and and X, Y, and Z, and it's like, well, come on, give the guy a rest. He's only 24 years old, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
exactly. Well, in that case, right? If you want me to say it's their loss, right? It's their loss. Whether I think Arsenal should buy him if that comes in, irrespective of what I believe might be the real
yes,
scenario,
yes.
do I think he would be a good signing for Arsenal? I would say if he's less than 40 mil,
I was
I
going
think
to
he's a
ask
good
how
signing.
much. Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah.
This is why I put a figure on, right? So less than 40 mil, which is a good steal to be honest,
Mm,
because of the profile of player he is, right? And if Man United just want to get rid of him, 40 mil, get him in, and but he has to fight it out with the likes of Martinelli, Emil Smith Rowe, Saka, Pepe, right?
yeah.
And if he wants to be the centre forward, he has to improve his game on hold up play and the way he wants to play. Because what Arteta is looking for isn't an Aubameyang or a Lacazette. He's looking for a hybrid.
Mm,
He wants someone to be able to run behind, have that physicality to hold up the ball, head the ball. That's why you've got likes of Ollie Watkins and Dominic Calvert-Lewin linked, or Isak linked, because of their size and their physicality,
yeah.
their ability to dribble, their ability to take shots, to score headers, and their ability to involve others
In the
into the
play.
play,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Rather than just waiting for tap-ins,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Fair.
That's
Fair
why
point.
Aubameyang suffered towards the end, and he's a boss are doing good. We can't go an episode without talking about him, can we?
You can't.
No, no.
uh,
But
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's so in terms of the system, I think if you want him as a player, I think it's a wide forward, right?
Yeah.
But not as a striker, not for me.
Fair point there, Zed. Fair points all round. Look, I think let's wait and see what happens. There's going to be a long
Yeah.
summer. And look, I think we've just hit it over an hour now, haven't we? An hour and 2 minutes. I'm
Yes.
sure you
Yes,
will
we have.
use your editing skills to good stead to bring it down to an hour. But listen, mate, it's been great speaking to you as always and catching up. I'm amazed we actually did fill an hour, given that we didn't have a game to even preview,
Maybe we can talk rubbish
review.
about Arsenal all day.
We absolutely can. We absolutely can. But listen, Zed, I'm going to let you plug your Twitter before we call it a day, and tell viewers how much you've enjoyed today as well.
No, it's been fun. It's been fun. As I said to Harry at the start, I'm half asleep doing this, but it's been fun. It's proven to me that I can talk rubbish about Arsenal even in my half asleep state.
You
So
absolutely can. Yeah.
right. So you can follow me on Twitter as Z_TAGP, which stands for the Organist Podcast. It's been lovely recording another episode with you, Harry, and I'm sure our fans and everyone else would like to listen
We
to
got a
more of our
very
shit.
special, yeah, exactly. We've got a very special guest with us next week. We're not going to reveal just yet who, but just
Oh, creating drama, yeah.
keep an eye on the Twitters. That's all I will say. Keep an eye on the Twitters. I've been Harry Khan, and you can catch me on at Harry Kanu. That's KHANU. As I say, keep an eye on the Twitter, guys. We will be revealing middle of next week, the middle of this week rather, who that guest is going to be. Take care, guys. God bless. See you all soon.